and I'm certain will lead to some changes in the future. Let's cross back down to Canberra now, where I'm joined by Julie Hourigan-Roos, she's in Sydney. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to cross to Sydney, where I'm sitting, but somewhere near me. Thanks for joining us. Julie Hourigan-Roos, who heads up FAMS, a charity peak group, you head up an organisation that represents a lot of charities in touch with women, children, families under pressure at the moment. Thanks for joining us, Julie. Give us a steering, how people are coping, where are the pressure points in society right now?
So services on the ground are doing it really tough at the moment, and as we just heard from Senator Hanson, even in the best of times when Australia's economy is booming, we still have families across the country that face tough times and who need support. And what we're hearing from our services on the ground is that it's becoming incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to be able to be delivering food and essential services to the families that they support. And we welcome the federal government's additional commitment of $200 million for essential food and emergency relief. And we absolutely recognise that supermarkets needed to act quickly at the beginning of this pandemic to shut down panic buying. But the unintended consequence of that is that local services that do this food distribution for families who are doing it tough in New South Wales have been captured by the purchasing restrictions, and they can't get access to the essentials that they need to get to the families that are doing it.
Yeah, so people are waiting for deliveries, people who can't shop themselves can't get the food delivered to them. Another issue I would have thought would be people who are on a fixed income, who live week to week when it comes to their income, of course can't stock up on supplies and are more likely to get caught short when there's panic buying and shelves stripped bare.
Absolutely. We've heard from a local community service in Toukley on the New South Wales Central Coast. The calls to that one service have tripled in recent weeks, and they're being approached by 500 shoppers a week who can't get access to the food that they need, and that's for a range of reasons. Some of it is families do live week to week and they haven't been able to have those backup supplies. Some of it is because people have lost their jobs and they've just been caught absolutely short, and some is because of the supermarket restrictions that people are just elderly in our community really struggling. They sometimes rely on community transport providers who can only take them to the shops on certain days. With social distancing, it's been incredibly difficult to run those community buses, those community options that connect our distribution networks and our supermarkets with the people who need the supplies the most.
I understand there's been some additional funds go to Meals on Wheels as well, which is obviously recognising similar problems there, getting more meals to people who need that assistance.
And that's amazing. And Foodbank has also been named by the federal government as being a key player in loosening up the distribution of food. But what we really need, the government's come to the table, what we really need now is supermarkets to come to the table. There's some really simple things that they could do overnight now. We're hearing from services on the ground that have had long-standing relationships with their local supermarkets. They've got accounts in place so that they can go in bulk the quantities of food and essential services that they need to distribute to their families. But everybody's trying to be compliant, everybody's trying to do the right thing, and these charities, these not-for-profit organisations, are just an unintended consequence of these supermarket restrictions. And we need the supermarkets to be acting, to be looking at the current situation and to be lightening some of those restrictions so that we can get the system flowing quickly. We know that some of this new money will take a while to come down the pipeline. If supermarkets come to the table now, we can start helping families in need.
Thanks for joining us, Julie, and thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Julie